Okay, so my purpose here is to tell you a cheap and relatively easy way to get a taste of VR. And if you like what you find there, you may want to get into it further and buy an actual headset. I'll say a few words about that. Um, if you're already familiar with VR, this won't be very interesting to you. It's not as high quality an experience as in a purpose-built headset. Um, but just to give you an idea, there's a lot of free VR content on YouTube, and also, interestingly, you can shoot VR 360 3D stills with just your smartphone. You don't need an expensive VR camera to do that, and it's a lot of fun. Uh, so, some caveats: not all phones will work for this. I'm an Android guy. I don't know if this is possible on Apple. It's a kind of a Google thing. So there are, I think, Apple versions of some of the Google apps, like the Google Camera. So it might be possible, but I can't guarantee it. There are a lot of flavors of Android, and you do occasionally run into a phone which otherwise should be able to do it, but for reasons I have not understood, can't. But we'll see. So what is VR? So when you look at a 3D photo in a stereoscope, you can look around, but only with your eyes. In the real world, you can look around the space you're in, up, down, sideways. You can turn around, and the view will change as you do that. And that's what the case is with VR. So it makes things more immersive by using wide-angle viewing lenses, and also by tracking the position of your head in three degrees of freedom. There are fancier headsets, purpose-built ones that will actually change the view as you walk around in some environments. This will not do that. Your phone doesn't really have the chops, the CPU and external cameras to do that very well. But the idea is to give you an even better feeling of being there. I apologize that I can't really convey the experience through the screens that you're looking at, because it really is, you'd have to stick your face in the screen. You get a very wide angle view, and everybody's head won't be in the same position. Um, you may see the terms VR 180 and VR 360. In 180, you can look over 180 degrees of the azimuth angle. That is, you can look 90 degrees to your left. You can turn your head around and look 90 degrees to your right. With VR 360, you can look around the whole circle. You can turn your head and body completely around and see what's behind you. There are a lot of things that you will see that are called VR that aren't stereo. So be aware of that. 360 seems to be especially susceptible to people making that claim. But we all know that's inferior if it's not stereo. If you're doing 360, it's really nice to have and even to some extent, if you're doing 180, a swivel chair is nice to have, because then you can turn around without standing up. You're going to have your face in a headset. It's not going to be easy to see where you are, and it can be easy to fall down if you're not careful standing up and turning around to look at things. So I recommend a swivel chair. What can you do? You can see VR videos on YouTube, and we'll give you some pointers to where you can find those, how to find them. There are some VR games. These won't be the latest and greatest, but games do exist. I'm not a games guy, so I don't know much about them. And as mentioned, you can take 360 VR stills and view them in 3 dimensions and look around. What you can't do, there are lots of games out there for other platforms like Steam, or the games that are intended for Meta's headsets. You can't do those. You can't run let's see, what is it called? ImmerVR has a slideshow mechanism that's intended for headsets, and DOVR is another app that does video, but only in VR. And those require apps that are designed only to run on headsets. It's also not the best way to view your stereo photos. It is possible to do it, but the lenses in these cheap headsets that I'll be talking about are thick and single element plastic. So they do distort the image somewhat, and you start to get chromatic aberration at the edges, so it's not that crisp. So what kind of phone will work for this? You need a phone with a gyroscope to track your head angles. And the easiest way to determine this is to look in your your Android Google Play Store for Cardboard. And if the Cardboard app shows up, then your device has a gyroscope and can track your head movements. Another place you can look is GSM Arena. So these things that show up in blue here are live links, and I'll put a link to the PowerPoint in the chat when I'm done with this, so you can go to this and follow those links. And you can search for your phone and look under features, sensors, and it'll tell you what all else you have. For some headsets, there aren't that many of these anymore. You need a magnetic compass in your phone because they sense a button on the side magnetically, but that's relatively uncommon. But mostly it's just having a gyroscope. The XReal Beam Pro, if you have one of those, it has a gyroscope in it, and it can run the Cardboard app, but it's probably a bit too thick for the holders in most of the headsets. So be advised. The higher resolution screen you can get, the better. 1080 high when it's in landscape mode is nice. Full HD screen. I don't know whether the Sony Xperia phones have gyroscopes in them, but they actually have a 4K screen. So I have not tried that, but that might be an even better experience. 1080 is not strictly necessary. You'll just see a bit more of a screen door if you have a lower res phone. So what about the headset? There are a lot of headsets out there, from the classic Cardboard that you see over here to various ones that clip onto your phone or ingest your phone in various ways. And I'll show you what I think is nice to have in a headset. I think ones that don't have a strap at all you'll get tired if you do this much, having to hold the thing up to your face the whole time. So I do recommend something that has a strap. And for the best experience, I think you want a strap that not only goes around the back of your head, but that goes over the top and then joins to the strap that goes around the back. Because if it only goes around the back, it's holding the thing up strictly by pressure on your head. And after a while, that will get a bit uncomfortable. Having padding for your face is also very good for long-term comfort. It's nice. Not all of them focus. It's good to have focus if you can get it. I find, for example, on this one, that even with my peculiar eyes and prescription, I can use my headset without my glasses because the focus racks far enough. It's good to have an interocular adjustment, even if it's a cruder one, as on some of these things. Most of these headsets will have a screen tapping button. I'll talk a little bit about the user interface and how that works later. And then this one has a door that folds down, as opposed to there are other ones that have a slider that you slide out, stick your phone in. I find the trapdoor arrangement easier. You do in between videos have to sometimes use your fingers to touch and move on to the next video and stuff like that, and skip the ads on YouTube. So it's nice to have a convenient way to do that. This thing also has a magnetic clasp, which is just nice, not strictly necessary. There are ones that have suction cups to hold the phone. I don't recommend those because modern phones tend to be a little on the heavy side, and the suction cups may not hold it particularly steady. Clamps are better, but one thing to note is that they have rubber bumpers on the inside that may line up with buttons on your phone, and so you stick your phone in there and it turns off or blanks the screen or something like that. So it may be a little fiddly to position your screen. The other thing you can do to avoid that is with an X-Acto knife and a little of the right kind of adhesive, you can move sometimes the rubber bumpers into a position that better fits your handset. This one, you'll see there's a QR code on the inside, and that's true of most, but probably not all of these phones. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. The audio is important also. You can just use your phone audio, but it's nice to have earphones. Some things have stereo sound. Some things have a sort of immersive sound that tries to give you a three-dimensional effect. So it's good to have stereo earphones. Some headsets have built-in Bluetooth earbuds or earphones. I prefer wired ones. I run the cord out the side, but that's a matter of taste. Some of them come with a Bluetooth controller. I think for watching YouTube videos, it's not really essential. It's probably essential for some of the games, but I haven't really tried that. There are different modes that these things can do. You can control the volume, which might be handy to mute ads. But I have one of those, and I really don't use it, so your mileage may vary. There are headsets out there that are only compatible with certain phones. For example, there are the Samsung Gear VR ones. They work only with certain Samsung smartphones, and they're not supported anymore. Google Daydream is also designed to be paired with specific phones from a few manufacturers and is also not supported now. But in general, these headsets are not difficult to find. They seem to still be making them. You can find them on eBay. You can probably find them for, depending on what you get, anywhere from maybe $10 US to 30. And you can sometimes find them at garage sales or, boot sales or what have you. So they're out there. Some of them may still be in stores. I think they're probably getting harder to find now. So, how to get started? In the Play Store, the first thing to do is to download the Cardboard app that looks like that, and start that app, and it will ask you to scan a QR code on your headset. And this one, the one I use the most, has it inside the door, maybe in other positions. The reason it does that is that the lenses are different on different headsets, and it needs to know how much to distort the image to compensate for the distortion that the lenses do. I think if you don't have a QR code, letting it assume the default is probably okay. Won't be too far off. There are a couple of demos in the Cardboard app, including some masks in 3D that rotate that you can look at. So try those out and go to the main Cardboard screen, which looks like this on the right here. Yours is going to look a little different. It knows about some other apps that I have installed that you probably don't, but there is a app here for a 360 video channel, which is available on YouTube. And that's a good place to get started looking at YouTube free VR content. If you miss the QR code step, or if you use more than one headset, you can redo it by tapping. Once you're in a video looking at it, you can tap that gear icon in the upper right and allow it to use your camera to scan the VR code on whatever headset you're using. So the user interface on these things is very minimal. There's one button and where your face is pointed. So when you're in a video, you will see a little white dot there. You can see it in the left view there and the right view here. And as you move your head around, it points to different things. In this case, you can see it's just off of the pause button. So to pause a video, you look to move your head until that dot is on the pause button, and then you poke the button on the headset, which is like clicking a mouse equivalent. You may actually, I guess you need to click the button once to get the little dot, and then you click again to do a selection. And there are other menus that you can use to navigate with it, as well as the play and pause controls. Another pro trick to this is YouTube defaults to fairly lousy resolutions, frequently much worse than your phone is capable of. And you can vastly improve the experience by pointing at the icon and you can barely see it here in small letters. Here's an enlargement, and that looks like HD. If you press that, you'll get closer to an HD view, and the things will look much sharper. Just a note, it's worth pacing yourself if you don't do this very much. Some people, and especially depending on how much lag there is in your phone, you may get a little nauseous. Your system has to adapt to it. So gradually increase the viewing time. Start with maybe 15 minutes and go up from there as you get comfortable with it. Now, you can take 360-degree 3D VR videos with your phone with the usual built-in camera app in most cases. Um, the In your camera app, you'll have this like 9-dot tic-tac-toe menu. You click on that, it'll give you a panorama icon. You click on that, and you can take a panorama. It'll show you your progress by superimposing this little screen in the middle that shows you what portion of the world your phone is currently looking at. And then you hold it up in front of you like you would taking an ordinary picture, and slowly use your feet to move around in a circle. If you move too fast, you'll get sort of stitch lines in it, and it'll also warn you about that. But anyway, by the time you've made a complete circle, when you've made the complete circle, it will automatically start stitching. It stitches the images in the phone, so you don't need an internet connection to do this. And You have just captured your surroundings in 3D. Um, and here's an example of you can then view them in the usual gallery app on most phones. So something that you've shot in VR has this little circular arrow thing in the middle of it. So if you tap on that and then turn the phone into landscape mode, you get a stereo view like this. And if you tilt your head up, tilt your head down, the view will change accordingly. You can see there's a lot of blur at the top here and a little at the bottom. So these things are relatively narrow vertically, but so it's not, quite the fully, photosphere experience of having a real VR camera, but it's still kind of cool. You can show your friends, places where you've been in a way that, your still ordinary 3D stills don't fully capture. Um, there was Google had an option to do photospheres at one time. That seems to be gone, unfortunately. So, by the way, the files that this creates look like, if you transfer them to your PC, they look like they're just an ordinary JPEG with one view in it. But it's misleading because what they've actually done is packed the second view into the metadata. So it's a weird file format. Stereo Photo Maker can actually read it. There's also an online converter available, which will convert it into a form that you can see on say, for example, a MetaQuest headset, which is an over and under square panorama with a lot of dead space in it. So, what to watch on YouTube? So, Google has a virtual reality. Sorry, I should say Google has on YouTube a virtual reality channel. Again, I will give you a link when I'm done here to the PowerPoint, which will have the live links in it. They've stopped updating it, unfortunately, for a few years, but there's still a lot of content, and it's a good place to start. Another way to start is to search YouTube for VR 180, VR 360, etc. Ted Whitten, whom some of you may know, has a set of playlists, and there'll be a link in there to those. And there's a prolific YouTube creator named Hugh Ho, who has a lot of VR content and also a lot of how-tos on producing it, shooting it, editing it, etc. And he's one of the few people that does narrative, like dramatic narrative VR. So those things are kind of fun to watch. So just as a reminder that games do exist. I have not tried them, but you can Google best VR games for Android on your computer and locate some of them that way. So if you do this for a while and you decide you like it and you'd like a better experience, what's next? Well, you can buy a real VR headset, a purpose-built VR headset, where the display isn't your phone, the display is built into the headset. But usually have more resolution and better optics than these cheap headsets that I've been talking about. Um, the best bet is probably the Oculus and now called Meta headsets. I suspect they subsidize them, so they're relatively affordable. They're not the complete state of the art. If you've got $3,000 burning a hole in your pocket, you can buy the Apple headset, which has 3,000 dot square views. The best, I think, the top of the line Metas are about 2,000 dots per side. Um, and there are different generations of the Oculus headsets, some of which are obsolete, but apparently still capable of doing some things. There's a link here to a YouTube video where a guy was asking, "Is the Oculus Go worth it in 2025?" And concludes that it is. That as long as I guess, as long as you still have a YouTube app that works on it, it's probably still available. Those are pretty cheap. These are prices that I got off eBay, maybe 6 months ago in US dollars. Um, the Quest 2 is discontinued now, but it's still supported. And you can get those for maybe 130 US dollars on eBay. The current headsets from Oculus and slash Meta are the Quest 3S, which is fairly new, has Fresnel optics. And you can get those for about $300 new, considerably less used. And then the higher end, the current top of the line is the Meta Quest 3, which has higher end pancake optics. Some people don't like the Fresnel optics. I guess it's a matter of taste. And there used to be a 128 gig memory version of the Quest 3 that was cheaper. Currently they only sell the 512 gigabyte version. And those go for 500 new. I think I bought one for about 350 on eBay several months ago. And these things come with the latest ones come with a pair of controllers. The Oculus Go has like one controller, and they're a bit more useful. There is a way supposedly to use them with just hand gestures. There's a bit of a trick to it, but you can find that out on YouTube. I think the experience is probably better with the controllers, but you will see them on eBay without the controllers, so be aware. And it's hard to find. They never sold controllers separately, so those are a little bit hard to find. So that's it, other than the photo credits for the stock photos that I used above, and I'm open for questions.